The Percy Jackson show has been quite the ride. For me, I'd say we've gotten a fantastic piece of television that adapted the Percy Jackson novels very faithfully. But I think no other episode proves this point more than episode 8, the final episode in the first season. It's the episode that I think shows the world more than any other why people like me enjoy this franchise, and why we've continued to enjoy it for the years of it existing as a book series. Why does this story connect with us? And why were we so adamant about getting this story adapted to the screen in the first place? Well, there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll be glad to do so. Let's talk about this, shall we? Now, of course, the reasons for adapting a book to the screen is done because of a multitude of different reasons that don't involve itself with the story, quote-unquote. One of the reasons being that there's obviously money at play. Businesses want to make money off of the stories we as the audience consume. But that's not a bad thing. Every franchise, good or bad, was created with making money in mind. It's just the way of life. However, money only really hinders the quality of a franchise when it's clear that the money was more important than the story. Which unfortunately I can say for a lot of movies and shows nowadays. And off the top of my head, an example I can give you is the Percy Jackson movies made back in the 2010s were a clear example of corporate greed, with Fox just wanting to make the next Harry Potter, not caring about what the story was about and what made it popular in the first place. But with the Percy Jackson show, I don't see that. I see a genuine attempt to bring this beloved story to the screen with care and passion, and I especially see it within episode 8. Now, this brings me to my next point. The final episode in the first season of Percy Jackson shows us many examples of why not only I enjoy the book so much, but why so many other people do. One of the reasons being the action scenes. Now, Percy Jackson being a book series, obviously there's no real action. You're imagining it in your head. But the way the fight scenes are written in the books with clear detail to how the fights play out make it very visual for readers. Therefore, transferring it to the screen was one of the most exciting things to see, as now with the show you can hear and actually see the fight with all the sound effects, music, scenery, and actors having to act out the scenes is the experience we get with a visual fight. The Ares fight in episode 8 is the perfect example of this. We see Percy struggle to take down the literal god of war in one-on-one combat, but eventually using his strength as a son of Poseidon, he is able to triumph against this foe who is leaps and bounds superior to him in combat and in strength. I mean, seeing Percy fight literal gods is one of the things I love about this franchise so much, so finally actually seeing it was incredible. Another moment in this episode that shows why Percy Jackson connects to us was the Olympus scene. In Percy Jackson, there's many moments where we learn to appreciate Percy's lack of willingness to kiss up to the gods. He doesn't look up to them as divine beings that are superior to him. No. Percy can get real nasty with the gods. Percy yelling at the king of the gods for being stupid and continuing the war against Poseidon is probably one of the best moments in this show, as not only do we appreciate Percy for his disobedience against the gods, but this character trait actually comes up later on in the series, and it's very important when it does happen, so it's nice to see the show taking advantage of Percy's rebelliousness earlier on in the story. Another example this episode shows us the reason why we enjoy this franchise has to do with Luke. Luke in this episode is revealed to be the main villain, and in this show, we see he doesn't view himself as the villain. We see his ideology on the gods and complete hate for them, and we as the audience understand his hate, because we saw how terrible the gods are throughout the entire series from Percy's perspective. So Luke being this character who challenges the status quo, that allows us to understand his frustration with the status quo, is good writing. We like this story because it touches on complex three-dimensional issues that we as the audience can be invested into. Because I think Percy Jackson's more than just a story of a kid who must go get lightning bolt and must go fight monsters. It's a tough narrative about good versus evil, and questions what is good and what is evil. Examples like those from this episode was tapped into from the books, and we finally get to see it. And I think these scenes show why we like this series so much. It's got great action scenes that were made to be on the screen, characters that are iconic and compelling within the narrative, and it's written in a way that makes the story meaningful and satisfying for those action sequences or character moments that we appreciate within the Percy Jackson franchise. Now, with all that being said, what would I rank this episode? 5 out of 5. This was my favorite episode in the series. I thought not only was it a well-executed episode with all the story beats they had to cover, but I also think it was a very faithful adaptation to its book source material. I mean, the ending of this episode tells it all. Our main characters not only had a satisfying conclusion to their own individual stories, but also it wonderfully set up the story for the rest of the franchise. Because yes, there is still so much we have yet to see for this series, and if we can get more episodes like what we got with episode 8 specifically, then I think we'll be in good hands for adapting the rest of not just the Percy Jackson series, but the entire Percy Jackson universe. That's my review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 1, Episode 8. Let me know your thoughts of the episode in the comments below. Thank you for watching.